It's Easter, and that means more guests at the door and more delicious food on the table. Get even more with incredible Easter specials like Spa ice cream for only $42.99 and Spa frozen potato chips for just $32.99. And there's more. We'll give you a free Easter puppet when you spend 400 emalangeni or more while stock lasts. It's an Easter of more at your favorite Spa store.
The Minister of Home Affairs has assured It has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8, operated by Eswatini TV. My name is Sanabo and alongside Zaman Zamaze. Thank you so much indeed for choosing to stay with us. We're coming to you live from our Hospital Hill studios in Babane. Let's take a look at our top stories. The Minister of Home Affairs has assured pastors that once the church registration legislation is enacted, all churches will be parented by the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Minister of Education says the Council of Educators Bill of 2019, once passed into law, will deal with educators who engage in intimate relationships with students. The Royal Eswatini Police Services warns members of the public against leaving their homes unattended over the Easter weekend. And now the news in detail. The Ministry of Home Affairs has forwarded condolences message to the High Commissioner of South Africa in Babane by the Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini from His Majesty King Mswati III to be forwarded to the President of the Republic of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, following the ongoing rains. Now the Prime Minister says, as commanded by His Majesty King Mswati III, the government and the people of the Kingdom of Eswatini convey the country's deepest condolences following the recent devastating floods in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, which resulted in loss of lives as well as severe damage of property and infrastructure. The Prime Minister says, may the Almighty God comfort the families and the loved ones of the deceased and the entire people of the Republic of South Africa during this dark time. The Minister for Home Affairs, Princess Lindiwe, has assured pastors that once the church registration legislation is enacted, all churches will be parented by the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Minister was speaking at Eswatini Royal residence when welcoming the men of the cloth ahead of the Easter services, also known as Good Friday.
Clergymen who are under the auspices of the League of Churches have converged at the Eswatini Royal residence ahead of Good Friday services. The clergymen were welcomed by the Minister for Home Affairs, Princess Lindiwe. The President of the League of Churches in Eswatini, Bishop Samson Hlachago, pleaded with the minister to sort out the church registration processes. He says it is very disappointing that they are now being registered by the Ministry of Commerce, yet they are not business entities, but they are just preaching the word of God.
Wekuthi libandla nalivumbuka akadiwe lo muntu uqhamukaphi angavumbuki nje asenta tonke tinto kodwa limuva lakhe lingakhanyi uqhamuka kuphi uyakhiwa lo mthetho uye eParliament uyawuhlatiwa iParliament ugcine ushaywa kuba ngumthetho tenkolo ngoba inkolo seyonakele kangwane inkolo itangayelwa ngumthetho vele lo tawuhlala ukuthi nakuqhamuka umuntu aqhamuka njalo kusho nje ubala ukuthi khona labadlisa tshani khona benda lokhu nalokhu labanye awusehlukanisi la kangwane ukuthi incoko yaNkulunkulu nenyanga usayihlukanisa ukuthi seyinceke noma seyinyanga noma seyini akusehlukaniseki bazalwane emakholwa bathandaza uNkulunkulu yena yedwa aphilise umuntu kepha konke lokhu sesitawukhona ngoba kuyathi nasekufanele kusonzele kubitwe nalethi inhlangano tenikolo kubukiswane ukuthi lo mthetho ungakhiwa kanjani kutawuvimbeleka konke lokho.
When welcoming the men of the cloth, the minister assured them that once the kingdom enacts the church registration legislation, they will be back to the Ministry of Home Affairs. The minister also received study Bible donated by the Bible Society in Eswatini. She says she's looking forward to the first ever Good Friday services post-COVID-19.
Kepha-ke ngifuna ukuthi silungise kahle lo mthetho osilitiwe tasekhaya utokucaca kahle ngoba ukuthi naka-register umfundisi ngokutawuhamba kwente nje ku-register ngaphansi kwabani kube ne-order konke vele sisephansi sisetikwako loko sisitiko sifuna kukulungisa ukuthi kube ne-order kahle vele kubuye lapha etiko ngoba vele akusiko kwale ekuthengiseni siyathi sikwente kwebhizinisi ngale kanti umsebenzi wenkosi umsebenzi wasezulwini umsebenzi wekuthandaza bafundisi sivele siyayilungisa sitiko letasekhaya ukuthi akubuye konke odeni bekunene.
It has now been 2 years since the kingdom converged at the National Church with their majesties to celebrate the Easter services. The last Easter services were held in 2019. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Lincoln Kule, Royal Residence, Lusitsini.
The Minister of Education and Training says the Council of Educators Bill of 2019, once passed into law, will deal with educators who engage in improper, intimate relationships with students and those who use fake teaching certificates. Now, the Minister was speaking in Parliament when tabling the Council of Educators Bill in the House of Senate.
When the House of Senate resumed its parliamentary business on Wednesday, the Minister of Education and Training, Lady Howard, presented before the Senate House the Council of Educators Bill of 2019. When delivering her preamble, the minister said, once this bill is passed into law, students will be protected against any form of discrimination. The minister also emphasized that the bill will also deal with educators who engage in improper intimate relationships with students, whether or not under their care.
The Council of Educators Bill lena timbunga uma seyifakiwe yaba ngumsebenzi itawulekelela kuthuthukisa lizinga letekufundisa liphindze inakekele ukuthi bantu bafakeka baqasheka ngendlela lefanele baqashelwa etikotifiketi letingito lokho kufaka le control ngoba sikubonile ukuthi ezisiqhubeka sisebenza ukhanza thishela ugangeka school A abaleke ayobhaqaka school B agange ngebamphana la ngalamafishane le bill itawuzama ukucontrola kakhulu laba ganga ngebamphana etikolweni.
Senators, including the Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku, then debated the matter.
Livela khiwa etikolweni la kuphuma khona bodokotela la kuphuma khona bo DPM la kuphuma khona bo tishela bo nurse bonke basuka khona
ngabe iTSC seyitawuyekela discipline sekutawudiscipline laba be-council
ingabe ibudget yelitiko itawukhona yini ku-accommodate lo msebenzi lomuhle ngoba vele leli bandla liyadzingeka
letitifiketi tale council yona lelengenako ibe ulevel edlula tonke ama-councils lakhona.
The minister was also awarded an opportunity to respond to the debate.
iTSC itawuqhubeka nje yente njengoba yenta nje nyalo iyaqasha iyadisciplina iyatransfera iyapromota iyaqosha le council of le educators council yona ngala ito register le certificate talabo tishela uthi wonke tishela lokhona even akadiwe abe registered lapha ku council khona adopted TSC nasadilishile nathishela ngala wamkhanza ukuthi uguilt vele wenda umlalati ngebantwana akhokhi verdict ke TSC athi wena wenda umlalati asisakufuni kule system iverdict yakho ithi asisakudzingi la uyamshova ke nyalo thishela umshovela ku cancel ithi cancel wena kambe boyo wenda umlalati la bisa le certificate.
Senate President Lindiwe Dlamini also commended the Ministry of Education on the bill.
Siyathemba ukuthi minister le bill yakho itawukwenda impela ibuyise inhlonipho yathishela ibuyise inhlonipho yale profession.
By the time of compiling this report, the Senate House was still debating the matter. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samke Siwekosa with Muslim Konta, Parliament.
The Minister of Agriculture on Wednesday held a refresher workshop on transboundary animal diseases response with the animal health inspectors and livestock extension officers. This was said by the Director of Veterinary Services, Dr. Dlamini.
On Wednesday, the Minister of Agriculture, in collaboration with the Food and Agricultural Organization FAO and the European Union, held a refresher workshop on transboundary animal disease response for animal health inspectors and livestock extension officers. The Director of Veterinary Services at the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Dlamini, says the meeting came at the right time when the Republic of South Africa is battling with the foot and mouth disease outbreak and has recorded 56 cases currently.
This workshop is coming at a time when we are dealing with a risk of especially foot and mouth disease, a disease that has just broken out in South Africa, where they have quite a number of outbreaks. So it is really timed in that regard, even though it was late in terms of our plans, but the workshop has, the timing has worked to our advantage. We've just looked at how they can recognize the disease. We've looked at the legislation relevant to disease control. We've looked at instruments that we have, tools that we have. We've also looked at human resource issues because obviously the most important in any organization is the human resource. Those that can act willingly sometimes, and if the will is actually against the organization cannot succeed. This is very important because even if people are aware and they have been dealing with these things, there needs to be that revival or each and every time, especially when there is a looming risk. You need to have people that have a renewed understanding of the current situation and the current applicable legislation and tools, so that if in case you have an outbreak, you can respond speedily without wasting time trying to teach or trying to make people understand what is supposed to be happening.
The workshop is in line with the SADC Regional Agricultural Policy, which focuses on the enhancement of information on agricultural production, sustainability and competitiveness for evidence-based decision-making, as well as the implementation of plant and animal pest and disease control strategies at regional level. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samkel Siwekosa with visual source from FAO.
The tourism sector is slowly coming back to life following being one of the most hard-hit sectors by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Members from the Eswatini Tourism Authority and other stakeholders are in Cape Town, South Africa to attend the African Travel Week meeting, which aims to revive the tourism sector worldwide. There's also an opportunity to showcase the country's beauty and scenery to other countries. Eswatini TV's Gianim CB has more on that story.
Members of the Eswatini Tourism Authority and other stakeholders are in Cape Town, South Africa, where they've attended the ongoing Travel Week meeting. This is a meeting aimed at coming up with ways to revive the tourism sector after COVID-19, which has mostly affected the tourism sector worldwide. About 400 exhibitors are in attendance. The Eswatini Tourism Authority Head of Marketing, Simoniso Malopa, says this is an opportunity to market the country to tour buyers and operators.
Eswatini has been receiving a lot of visitation in our stand, and people are really asking a lot of questions about how easy it is for them to navigate the country and see the beauty of it. What activities can they enjoy when they go to a Kingdom of Eswatini? And also they are asking about visa requirements and COVID restriction or travel restrictions. So we're happy to share all that information, and we do present Eswatini as indeed a destination that is ready to host the rest of the world.
Kolani Kama from Big Game Parks says ever since the removal of PCR tests, tourists have been coming into the kingdom.
And nalelo lushintsho futhi libe seligcugcudelwa ngale ndzaba yokuthi kube sekususwa indzaba yema-PCR test ngoba bese sibonile kuma-tour operators ethu lebeyavamisa ukuzivakashela ukuthi bebasacala kumgega Eswatini ngale nkinga yokuthi sebasaba lokukhipha le mali lele beyizumbulo basenza ukuthi balethe ema-clients la ngakithi Eswatini.
The Hospitality and Tourism Association of Eswatini chairperson Mark Ward says tourists spend money in Eswatini in different ways. The COVID-19 pandemic was a blow for tourists.
There have been some real big opportunities that have come into our environment, and with the news that RENAC maybe will be starting with an airline, people are extremely interested in that flight that could be from Cape Town to KM3. Things are exciting going forward.
Business people promise to come to the kingdom to see and witness for themselves the future of the kingdom.
I look forward to meeting with my new friend, taking the short flight over to the kingdom and seeing all the beautiful things there, the wildlife, the cultural experiences.
Employees from the hospitality industry lost their jobs. Some businesses closed down due to the COVID-19. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian MCB. Visuals provided by the Eswatini Tourism Authority.
The Royal Eswatini Police Services pleads with members of the public to ensure that homes are not left unattended. At least someone must be home to avoid criminals taking advantage of people who will be on Easter holidays. Now, the Chief Police Information and Communications Officer, Superintendent Pindile Vlagate, also pleads travelers to ensure that those behind the steering wheel are only sober drivers to avoid accidents.
The police service asks members of the public to ensure that at least someone is left home while others are on Easter holidays to ensure that intruders are given no room. The Chief Police Information and Communications Officer, Superintendent Pindile Vlagate, says while some will be at church, some will have other intentions. She, however, ensures police visibility countrywide.
Umthetho wonke wemgwaqo asiwugcine silayishe ngelinani elivumelekile imoto ilungiselelwe lihambo nemuntu loshayelako abe ngilesimeni lesikahle lesilungele ukuthi angayishayela imoto. Nasebafikile ke indzaweni labantu abaya khona ngaba setinkonzweni ngaba kusemicimbini lehlukehlukene ngaba kusemaholidayini mhlambe baye emahotela siyacela ukuthi abachubeke bagcine yonke imigomo ye-COVID-19 njengoba baka health bayalile. Sinake kakhulu sibazalwane sinake singilabathi jabulisa ukuthi konke solo siyakwenda lokho la kushida uhulumende.
She asks event organizers on entertainment places to ensure that no one enters their premises with any suspicious weapon. She also asks travelers to ensure that tired, drunk people are not given cars to drive as they will pose danger to many on the road and cause accidents. Reporting, I'm Kian MCB, Mbabane. The Royal Science and Technology Park, in partnership with the World Bank Group and the Innovation Bridge Portal community, held a virtual meeting with local startups and entrepreneurs. This was shared by the RSTP Senior Communications Officer, Senzo Malaza.
The Royal Science and Technology Park, RSTP, in partnership with the Innovation Bridge Portal community, inspired and supported by the Department of Science and Innovation in South Africa, the World Bank and the Department of Small Business Development in South Africa, held a virtual meeting connecting private and public sector service providers with startups and entrepreneurs in Eswatini. Senior Communications Officer at RSTP, Senzo Malaza, says these connections that the RSTP is fostering with international players will help local startups in accessing global markets.
We had the Innovation Bridge Portal community that was presenting to us. We had the World Bank Group presenting to us as well on what we can get as players within the entrepreneurship ecosystem, but as well as our startups. So we believe that these connections that we are fostering will not only help us deliver services better to our startups, but it will also help those startups access markets outside of the country, because those are some of the things that we look at, trying to encourage our startups to come up with services, products or solutions that can be sold even outside of our borders. So we believe such workshops, such partnerships are going to yield good results for the country and our startups in particular. So we are happy that the Innovation Bridge Portal community will be launching in South Africa sometime in May, but we are very hopeful that they will also be launching in the country in the not so distant future.
On another note, the Royal Science and Technology Park is currently incubating 50 local startups. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgalsiwe Koza, Matapa.
Now, the upcoming Easter weekend will be a cold, wet one, accompanied by thunderstorms countrywide. The Meteorology Department pleads with members of the public to be warmly dressed, as many will be traveling to different destinations for the Easter holidays.
The Meteorology Department has predicted a wet weekend accompanied by thunderstorms countrywide. The change of the weather will be felt as of Friday later in the day. According to meteorologist Sydney Lukele, the rains will run until Monday. He asked Eswatini to ensure they have with them warm clothes since many will be away for Easter holidays.
Kukhona umsingalo banzako lotawungena ngaleSihlanu Ntsambama ngetikhatsi takusihlwa nje. Ikhatsi tabo-8 ebusuku. Lo msingalo banzako-ke utasilethela inguquko ku-weekend yethu ngalokuthi ngalobusuku bangaleSihlanu sikhatse ukuthi libese kuba nemvula lehambisana nekuduma. Ngemgcibelo-ke sitawuvuka nemvula nje lelula kuletinye tindzawo ngokuhamba kwelusuku bese lemvula seyiya ngekucina seyiba imvula nje lecinile cishe even lonke. Ngelisonto-ke nakhona kuchubeka simo lesifanako sikhatse ukuthi sivuke nemvula letikhawu etindzaweni letinengi letawuchubeka lilanga lonke elangeni langelisonto. Ngemsombuluko
Lukele says the temperatures will drop as of Friday night and all weekend long. The roads will be busy as well, with travelers going for Easter holidays and other destinations. Livestock next to the country's roads remain a challenge and pose danger to road users, especially motorists. Sembani Dlamini from the Road Safety Council asks motorists to be vigilant of road signs, drive with caution at all times.
Sibanike nabo lithuba lelanele ekusenza wona umbhaco. Noma ngabe baningi kangakanani abantu labakhona emgaqweni, bonke abalitholele lithuba sibawusebenzise kahle. Ikakhulukazi laba abahamba ngetinyawo. Imfuyo ke vele ke ayikadingeki ukuthi ibe khona emgaqweni. Ngabe kusemini noma kusebusuku, siyacela nje ukuthi bafuyi baqiniseke ukuthi imfuyo yabo bayayisusa emgaqweni ingabi khona. Umthetho wona uyasho vele ukuthi kude imfuyo leba khona emgaqweni ikakhulukazi ebusika.
She asks farmers to remove their livestock next to roads. Failure to do that, they will ensure that they keep their livestock in a safer place where the owner will have to pay to get back his livestock. The ongoing KwaZulu-Natal floods in South Africa are predicted to be over by Thursday, the 14th today, by the Met Department. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian MCB, Mbabane.
Well, right now, let's see how our markets are performing today in our financial report.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. Right now we shall take a look at news making headlines in the world of sports. Morning Pirates head coach Gcina Dlamini says it is the club's mission at the moment to try and finish the current MTN league with the top 8 teams. At the moment, Pirates is ranked 11th with 21 points in 20 games played so far. Fabrice Msonera has more on that story.
Moneri Pirates Football Club is one of the local teams that is not getting the right results under the current MTN Premier League. At the moment, Pirates occupies the 11th position in the MTN Premier League log with 21 points in 20 games played so far. Team coach Gcina Dlamini says the club's main objective is to try and finish within the top 8 of the current season.
Okay, the mandate was to try to finish within the top 8. I think we're still there. It's just that it will be very, very difficult. It will call that we will put in double effort. But we are not disappointed. We are not going to lose our focus. We still have some games where we believe we'll get some points. I think I'll just want maybe some prayers elsewhere just to get luck. Sometimes you need this thing just to put the ball in the net. You need luck. But yeah, today we're not okay. We're not sharp enough. But yeah, we'll be okay. I think top 8. I think it will be tough. But yeah, I think we'll finish within the top 8 bracket.
Pirates' next game will be against newly promoted Rangers at the King Sobuza Memorial II in Hlangano this coming Saturday. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera in Stegi.
And moving further afield, we'll take a look at news making headlines in the world of sports internationally. Kenyan long-distance athlete Joyce Chepkiru has received a 4-year ban after being found guilty of using doping substances. Now, the 33-year-old who won a gold medal in 2014 during the Commonwealth Games has been suspended dating back from June 2019.
Kenyan long-distance athlete Joyce Chepkiru has received a 4-year ban after being found guilty of using doping substances. The 33-year-old who won a gold medal during the 2014 Commonwealth Games has been suspended dating back from June 2019. An investigation that was conducted by World Athletics back in 2016 and 2017 showed that there was a foreign substance in Chepkiru's blood. The Kenyan athlete is expected to miss this year's Commonwealth Games to be staged in Birmingham in England. Moving on in Colombia, former Colombian national team star Freddy Rincon is no more after being involved in a car accident. The 55-year-old who captained the national team played for clubs like Real Madrid. He represented his country during the 1990 FIFA World Cup, 1994 and 1998 FIFA World Cups. During his time, he netted 17 goals for the national team. In UEFA Champions League games played on Wednesday evening, Manchester City from England progressed to the semi-finals of the tournament after beating Atletico Madrid by 1-0 on aggregate. Liverpool edged Benfica from Portugal by 6-4 on aggregate. The semi-finals will see Manchester City from England lining up against Real Madrid, while Liverpool will face Villarreal, also from Spain. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera with Linda Lamini, pictures sourced from France 24 and DW.
Well, that brings us to the conclusion of our news bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. Before we go, here's a quick reminder of our top stories. The Minister of Home Affairs has assured pastors that once the church registration legislation is enacted, all churches will be parented by the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Minister of Education says the Council of Educators Bill of 2019, once passed into law, will deal with educators who engage in intimate relationships with students. The Royal Eswatini Police Services warns members of the public against leaving their homes unattended over the Easter weekend. Beautiful Kingdom of Eswatini, that brings us to the conclusion of our news bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. We shall cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the rest of the crew at Eswatini TV. For now, it's good night and God bless. Enjoy your Easter weekend.